Alright, so I've played Fiesta Online for a while, and while I don't know everything, I know a thing or two about the game. So for a while I've kind of wanted to make a video or two about, frequently asked questions about the game or whatever, or people coming back that haven't been playing for a long time. So then I was like, where do I start? But I guess I'll explain something easy. And I'm gonna start today with the corruption events. That's an easy first video, huh? So here's anything you might need to know about corruption events. Or at least it's all I know about them. If you've just started playing Fiesta Online, or maybe you've returned after a long break, hey, we all take long breaks from this game, you know, it's no biggie. Then you might hear someone say something about CEs, or needing to reset, or keeping an eye on their times. And the latter two is usually referred to as the CEs as well. And those are corruption events. And when you do these corruption events, you get a buff that lasts for 179 minutes. You can get 3 of these buffs, since the corruption events happen on 3 different maps. And even though the buffs do expire, like any of them do, for some odd reason, they made it to where when you die, the time on these particular buffs reset. So when someone gets low on their time, that means their CEs, their corruption event buffs, are about to go away. And to reset them, they just have to go die somewhere. So, it's a pretty interesting mechanic there, and no other buffs seem to work that way. But take note though, if you're a Guardian, do not put Rebirth on someone with CE buffs, because Rebirth can delete CEs if you're not careful. But actually, contrary to popular belief, Rebirth doesn't automatically delete CEs. There's just a visual glitch that makes them not appear after you've auto-revived. All you have to do is go back to character select screen and select that character again to relog in, and then the corruption event buff comes back. But there is a huge downside though, because if you die while it's still glitched and not there, then it will be deleted. You'll have to go get it again. And the other downside is, for some odd reason, if you die in auto-rev with Rebirth, then it won't reset the time. You know, Gamego, please fix this. Fix Rebirth after all these years. And fix Lightwind and NSH while you're at it, like, come on. These corruption events happen at random every, like, 2-ish hours. Like, it's not 2 hours on the dot or anything like that. And they only occur on one of 3 level 135 and up maps. CG, or Celestial Gardens, which is also called the Realm of Teva. FOL, or Forest of Life, also called the Realm of Scipion. And POO, or Pleasance of Ordeals, also called the Realm of Apollyon. You can enter any of these maps at level 135 if you have a warp scroll for it. If not, then the Celestial Gardens is only enterable at 135 via the gate in the island of Aya. When you're 136 though, you can get to Celestial Gardens via the teleport gate. I don't know why they level limited the teleport gate to 136 instead of 135. You'll have to ask Gamego for that. Forest of Life is only enterable at 137, and you have to go through to get to the Forest of Life. It's kind of annoying. And to get to Pleasance of Ordeals, you have to go through the Forest of Life, so that's also level limited to 137 because of that. But anyways, to get to Forest of Life without a scroll, you first go to CG, to Celestial Gardens, then to Celestial Islets, and then there's a gate in there for the Forest of Life. To get to Pleasance of Ordeals without a scroll, first go to Forest of Life, Grove of the Whispering Woods, and then you'll be in Pleasance of Ordeals. And you can more easily get to Pleasance of Ordeals from this one gate in Elga, but of course that necessitates you doing the prerequisite quests in order to get into Elga first, because you can't just go there whenever you want. And to unlock Elga, you have to get into Pleasant Ordeals first, so pretty much, just go buy the Warp Scrolls if you only want the buffs, and to unlock Elga. But anyway, and speaking of buffs, you can get up to 3. There's Teva's Blessing, Scipien's Blessing, and Apolline's Blessing. Teva gives you 10% extra damage, and 10% more HP and SP. Scipien gives you 10% more damage, and 10% movement speed, so it's like a tier 2 speed scroll for free. Apolline gets you 10% more damage and a 10% drop rate boost, which is always appreciated. You'll find out. All these stack too, so you pretty much get an extra 30% damage for free once you have all 3 of these. And you'll have them for 179 minutes before you need to reset them, so that's not bad. It's better than them being like an hour long. So, how do you get these? Well, it's easy. All you gotta do is be on the map where a corruption event is happening, and if it's successful, anyone who's on the map will get that buff for free. So, not bad, especially if you're too weak in the beginning to actually help that much. Alrighty, so now you're on the map, and you actually want to participate. Nice. Very nice. Well, here's how it works. When a CE starts, you will have 1 hour to complete it. You'll see this gauge appear, and you'll have to fill it up. And to do that, you just kill mobs on the map. Very easy, very simple. Once you get to the first notch, 1 corrupted spike will appear on the map. And at the second notch, 2 will appear, and at the third, 3 will appear. Now, you can keep killing mobs if you want. You don't have to go to the spike if you don't want to. Of course, it won't succeed if you don't, but, you know. If you just stay there and kill mobs and fill up the gauge, that'll actually be a great help, because filling the gauge is kind of annoying when you only have a couple people on the map to do this. So it is actually a great help if you help fill the gauge, okay? It's easier for strong characters to take care of the spikes anyways. And also, unfortunately, if you're on one of these maps trying to get quests done or something, the mobs do get a tad stronger. They get a corruption buff on them. So that's kind of annoying, but it's only for the duration of the event, so, you know, hopefully you get a buff out of it at least, huh, if you don't have it already. So here's some special information about the spikes themselves. Because for most classes, you can only damage it with auto attack. You know, just click it, and whatever your auto attack is, that's all you can do. It's kind of like Sora's chest, but a couple classes can use a couple skills. Thank goodness, because mages can only smack with their staff or wand, and that ain't gonna do much. So both mages can use the ground AoEs, but only Frost Nova and Inferno. Meteor Summon and Chain Lightning won't do anything to it. Although, Chain Lightning can bounce off of the spike, so that is helpful in a couple of cases. And then Gladiators can use their fire, their Heat of Fury as well. And then Wizards specifically, funny enough, can summon skeletons because the skeleton's auto attack also counts. Which is kind of funny. They actually have a use here, until the spike kills them. Alright, so as you damage the spike itself, then it will summon a mob, and you'll have to kill it in order to keep damaging the spike, because you'll just hit zeros on it as long as that summoned mob is there. And the spike can also AoE. So if you're not well equipped, just keep that in mind. Like, it'll just be randomly AoEing, and if you're under equipped, those spikes hurt a lot. Like, a lot. The funny exception to this, though, there's always an exception somewhere. The exception is if the spike is focused on an archer, and the archer is far enough away, then the spike won't AoE and it won't summon anything either. So, you know, that's kind of funny. There's always an exception. Now, if you want to do extra damage to a spike, then find someone with a Midnight Brigade mini-pet that decreases defense, and find the Glad with 2 pieces of the DDF set to lower the spike's def further. And if you are so inclined, you can find a Warlock with 2 pieces of the DDF set to reduce magic defense, you know, if you're so inclined. Alright, so after you fill the gauge all the way up, and you dealt with the first spike, the next 2 spikes, and then the next 3 spikes, you'll have to kill the boss in order to finish the corruption event. And you gotta fill the gauge all the way up there, but it's really tiny at that stage. Now the good news is you can use all the skills you want. The boss just is a normal mob, which is great. He can also drop a card, which is pretty valuable, but I've only seen that happen a handful of times. And this is Corrupted Cyril, by the way. And he can also drop Ember Lights and Western coins, but I've only seen it happen like once, so... it's kind of rare. But the thing is, he summons a lot of mobs and a lot of spikes, so again, if you're under-equipped, you're kind of gonna get destroyed. So aside from getting the buffs, there is, and maybe the card too, I guess, if you're going after Cyril, there is another reason that you might want to do these corruption events, at least if you're still leveling, if you're not capped just yet. Because there's a daily tied to these corruption events. It's called Leading Corruption Daily. It gives 1.7 billion experience without a quest booster, so that's pretty good. It's 2.6% at 135. And how you do it is, I'm pretty sure you have to hit the spikes and the boss. You have to make contact with both of those. It might be one or the other though, but I'm pretty sure, just do both of them to be safe. As long as you land a hit on the spikes and the boss, then when the event succeeds, you'll get these corruption remnants in your reward inventory, where the Kingdom Quest boxes are. And then you use that to fulfill the daily quest. It's as easy as that. Oh yeah, and you get these corruption remnants every time you do a spike. So you don't have to do it every day, but if you just do corruption events enough times, then you'll build them up and then you can turn them in day by day. So I think that's just about everything, but oh yeah, almost forgot. If you want to know if a corruption event is happening without someone roaring about it, then just click on the regular map, go up to the top right hand corner where it says World Map, or press U, and then you'll see the whole map. Click on the bottom left where it glows purple, and that'll bring you to the Realm of the Gods map. And then you'll see, if you're on any of those maps, then it'll bring it up automatically. If you press U, you'll see a little heart icon next to whatever map you're in. And if any of these CEs are going on, then you'll see this weirdo icon next to the map that it's happening at. And you can see this no matter where you are in Isia. Alright, now for reals, I think that's just about everything I know about it. I can't think of really anything else. So go on out there and get a CE buff if you can access those maps.